Welcome to Timeless Stoic Learning. Here's a brutally honest truth. When a Sigma female suddenly cuts you out, it's never random or impulsive. It's not about drama or emotional flare-ups. It's calculated, deliberate, and often quiet. You might think everything's fine, but in her mind, she's already drawn her line. Sigma females value their peace, their time, and their personal growth above all else. If you start draining any of those, she won't hesitate to remove you from her life. No warning, no second chances. And the real shock, it's not personal. She's just protecting her energy and staying true to herself. Let's get started. Rare gems. I recommend watching the entire video for a better insight into the topic. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Number 1. You underestimated her ability to see through you. You might think you're being subtle, but with a Sigma female, nothing slips by unnoticed. Her perception is razor sharp, and she can pick up on even the smallest signs that something isn't right. Maybe you're putting on an act, trying to appear more confident, more caring, or more successful than you really are. But she sees straight through the performance. Sigma females don't waste time on surface-level personas or people who aren't fully authentic. To her, every interaction has a deeper layer, and she quickly identifies who's real and who's just putting on a show. The moment she realizes you're not being genuine, she won't confront you, explain herself, or ask for clarity. In her mind, there's no point in figuring out why you're pretending or what your true intentions are. That's not her problem to solve. Instead, she'll make a clean break, often without you even realizing it's happening until she's already gone. This isn't about harsh judgment, it's about protecting her energy. A Sigma female values authenticity and depth above all else, and she refuses to spend her time on people who play games or wear masks. When she feels that someone's not being real, she cuts them out quickly, because for her, there's nothing more draining than keeping up with someone who can't even keep up with themselves. Number 2. Unreciprocated respect. For a Sigma female, respect is non-negotiable. It's the foundation of every connection she values, and once it's missing, she won't stick around to explain or give second chances. Whether it's subtle dismissiveness, condescending remarks, or a lack of genuine support, she'll notice it right away. She doesn't need to be openly insulted to feel disrespected. Even small gestures or passive behavior that undermine her worth will send a clear message. You don't value her presence as much as she values self-respect. When respect is unreciprocated, a Sigma female won't argue or plead for better treatment. She won't engage in dramatic confrontations to demand what should come naturally. Instead, she'll quietly withdraw, cutting ties without any hesitation. In her mind, relationships, whether friendships, partnerships, or professional bonds, should be built on mutual respect. If that's not there, she's gone. Her decision to cut ties is not emotional or impulsive. It's about maintaining her own self-worth and protecting her boundaries. She knows what she brings to the table and won't waste time in environments where she's not treated accordingly. When she feels disrespected, she simply removes herself from the situation, no questions asked. In her world, respect is a given, not something to fight for. And if you don't give it, she'll show you exactly how easily she can walk away. Number 3. She's protecting her peace over pleasing people. A Sigma female values her peace above everything else. While many people remain in relationships out of guilt, obligation, or the need to keep others happy, she simply refuses to live that way. She's not wired to prioritize others' expectations at the cost of her own mental and emotional well-being. If a relationship starts to drain her energy, cause unnecessary stress, or disrupt her inner peace, she won't hesitate to walk away, no matter how close you think you are. She understands that pleasing people often leads to compromising herself, and that's a line she won't cross. While others might stick around out of a sense of duty, afraid of hurting feelings or causing drama, a Sigma female knows that her peace is non-negotiable. She's not going to stay in a relationship that no longer serves her just to avoid making someone else uncomfortable. Her decision to cut ties isn't made lightly, but it's done with clarity and purpose. She's not angry, and she doesn't seek to punish anyone. It's simply that, for her, peace is priceless. And if you're contributing to chaos, Even unintentionally, she will protect her tranquility by creating distance. There's no guilt in her decision because she knows that, in the long run, prioritizing her peace benefits everyone around her. A calm and centered Sigma female is her best self, and that's something she won't sacrifice for the sake of people-pleasing. Thank you for being a valued subscriber. Your continued support is incredibly important to us and inspires us to keep producing meaningful content. We truly appreciate your engagement and dedication. Number 4. She gave you more than one chance and you blew it. You might not realize it, but a Sigma female is more patient than you think. She doesn't jump to conclusions or make decisions in haste. When you slip up, she doesn't always walk away immediately. In fact, she often gives silent second chances. She watches, quietly observing if you'll recognize your mistakes and correct them. She's not the type to spell out what you did wrong. She expects you to be self-aware enough to figure it out and make things right on your own. But here's the thing. Those second chances don't last forever. You may not even know you've used up all the goodwill she's given you because she's not one to make a scene or give ultimatums. She just waits. And once she sees that you're not changing, not learning from your missteps, she makes a final decision. And when that decision is made, there's no going back. A Sigma female values growth and self-improvement, not just in herself but in the people around her. If you show her that you're unwilling or unable to evolve, she'll cut ties. Not out of anger, but out of necessity. She's given you more than one opportunity to fix things, and if you haven't, that door quietly but firmly closes. When she walks away, she doesn't look back. There are no more chances, no explanations. She's done, and once she's done, you won't get another shot. Number 5. She detected your hidden agenda. A Sigma female is highly intuitive and has a remarkable ability to detect hidden agendas. Manipulative behavior, no matter how subtle, never goes unnoticed by her. You might think you're being clever or that your true intentions are well hidden, but to her, they're as clear as day. She's constantly reading between the lines, observing your actions, and picking up on any inconsistencies. The moment she senses that you're operating with ulterior motives, it's over. She doesn't need to call you out or confront you about it. Once she knows you're playing games, she'll quietly cut you off. No explanations, no warnings. Manipulation, in her eyes, is a sign of weakness. It shows that you're insecure, trying to control situations or people to compensate for something you lack. She has no patience for that kind of behavior. A Sigma female values honesty, directness, and integrity, and if you can't offer that, she'll remove you from her life. Her decision to walk away isn't fueled by anger or hurt. It's a calculated move to protect her own peace and well-being. She refuses to be a part of any dynamic where manipulation is involved. In her mind, relationships should be based on authenticity and mutual respect, not hidden motives or power plays. So when she detects your hidden agenda, she'll cut ties without hesitation because she has no time or tolerance for those who can't be real with her. Number 6. You tried to box her in. A Sigma female values her freedom above all else. She's fiercely independent, constantly evolving, and lives life on her own terms. The moment you try to box her in, whether by controlling her decisions, limiting her options, or dictating how she should live, you've already lost her. For her, autonomy isn't negotiable. It's a fundamental part of who she is. The more someone tries to define her or put her in a category, the quicker she will slip away. It's not just about physical freedom, it's about emotional and mental freedom too. She refuses to be controlled or manipulated, and she won't tolerate anyone who tries to impose their expectations on her. Whether it's subtle attempts to make her fit into your plans or overt actions to control her life, she'll see it coming from a mile away. And once she does, she's gone without a second thought. Sigma females value relationships that respect their independence. They need space to grow, explore, and make their own choices. If you can't respect that space, or if you try to confine her to a narrow role, she'll walk away. It's not about anger or resentment, it's about protecting her sense of self. Trying to box her in feels like a threat to her freedom, and that's something she won't compromise. She would rather be alone than with someone who limits her. and she'll vanish from your life as quietly and swiftly as the wind. Number 7. You became part of the background noise. Sigma females thrive in environments that allow them to think clearly and maintain a sense of peace. They value quiet, not just in the literal sense, but also in the people they allow close to them. When you bring something meaningful into her life, she notices. But the moment you start to fade into the background, becoming just another voice in the noise of her day-to-day existence, she'll distance herself. It's not about anger or drama, it's simply her way of recalibrating her space. She seeks depth and purpose in her relationships. If you're no longer adding value or stimulating her in some way, she will see you as part of the distraction rather than the clarity she craves. Sigma females don't tolerate being weighed down by unnecessary noise, whether that comes from a toxic relationship or just a stagnant one. When you blend into the background, she realizes you're no longer contributing to the focus and serenity she strives to maintain. Her decision to cut you off is calm and intentional. She's not doing it to hurt you or make a point. It's about protecting her mental space. She doesn't have the emotional bandwidth to keep people in her life who aren't adding something positive or helping her grow. When she sees that you've become just part of the background noise, she'll quietly step away to preserve the balance she needs in her life, without apologies or second thoughts. Number 8. Your values started clashing with her vision. A Sigma female is laser-focused on her personal vision and goals. Her values, the way she approaches life, and how she treats others are all aligned with a clear sense of purpose. So when your actions or mindsets start to clash with that vision, she won't hesitate to distance herself. It's not about being offended or holding a grudge. It's simply about staying true to her path. She has no time for energy that conflicts with where she's headed. Maybe you handle challenges in a way that she finds unproductive, or perhaps your treatment of others doesn't sit right with her. It could be as simple as a difference in how you approach life. If you're negative or stagnant while she's driven and forward-thinking, the disconnect becomes too obvious to ignore. For her, these differences aren't something to fight over. She's not going to argue or try to change you. Instead, she'll quietly step away, knowing that your paths no longer align. To a Sigma female, distractions, especially those that conflict with her core values, are something she can't afford. She's not interested in dragging along people who don't share the same outlook or vision for growth. When your values no longer mesh with hers, she'll cut ties with precision and purpose. There's no drama, just a realization that she needs to stay focused on her goals. And if you're not on the same wavelength, she's moving on without looking back. Number 9. You crossed an unspoken boundary. A Sigma female doesn't need to lay out her boundaries for you. They're there, clear as day, if you're paying attention. She operates on a level of self-respect and awareness that makes her boundaries non-negotiable. If you cross one of those unspoken lines, whether through disrespect, manipulation, or simple disregard for her values, she won't stick around to discuss it. There's no need for a confrontation, no dramatic argument, because in her mind, the decision has already been made. You're out. She's not interested in wasting her time or energy explaining why you overstepped. From her perspective, if you didn't notice her boundaries in the first place, you're not someone she needs to keep in her life. She values people who intuitively understand respect and who can navigate relationships with care and integrity. When you show her through your actions that you lack that understanding, she doesn't need to say anything. She'll just move on, no drama, no second chances. For a Sigma female, protecting her peace and self-respect comes first. She doesn't owe anyone an explanation for doing what's best for her. In her eyes, if you didn't respect the boundary in the first place, you don't deserve the courtesy of an explanation. Once you've crossed that line, it's not a question of whether you can fix it. It's already too late. She's already decided that her time and energy are too valuable to waste on someone who doesn't get it. Number 10. You are weighing down her creative momentum. A Sigma female thrives in an environment where creativity flows freely. Whether she's working on new ideas, projects, or even reinventing herself, she's constantly in a state of creation. Her mind is always turning, building, and evolving, and she values that momentum more than anything. So, when she feels like you're becoming a distraction or pulling her focus away from what she's building, she doesn't hesitate to remove you from her life. It's not personal. It's about protecting her creative space. If you're slowing her down, whether by needing too much attention, bringing negativity, or simply not matching her drive, she will see you as an obstacle. To her, time and energy are precious, and she's not willing to waste either on someone who isn't contributing to her growth or the things she's passionate about. When her creative momentum is at stake, she doesn't think twice about cutting ties. Her decision isn't fueled by emotion or conflict. It's a practical move. She can't afford to have anything or anyone stand in the way of her vision. Creativity for her is not just a hobby. It's how she lives, grows, and defines herself. So if you start weighing her down, she'll quietly but firmly move on. There's no remorse because in her mind she's simply doing what's necessary to protect her progress and keep her momentum going strong. For a Sigma female, her creative energy is sacred, and nothing is more important than maintaining it. Number 11. She realized you were living a script, not writing one. The Sigma female values authenticity and individuality above all else. She's someone who creates her own path, writes her own story, and refuses to conform to society's expectations. So if she realizes you're just living according to a script, whether it's the typical career path, relationship norms, or even how you handle your own growth, she'll lose interest quickly. It's not that she looks down on tradition or structure, but she craves depth and originality in the people she surrounds herself with. If you're simply going through the motions, ticking off boxes that society expects you to, she'll see it as a lack of initiative and creativity. Whether it's settling into a career you don't love because it's what you're supposed to do, or following outdated ideas of what relationships should be like, she'll notice. To her, living by someone else's script means you're not fully awake to your own potential. A Sigma female wants people around her who are writing their own stories, taking control of their lives, and creating something unique. She thrives on energy that's independent, self-driven, and visionary. If you're just coasting through life, sticking to a plan laid out by others, she'll feel like you're wasting your potential and hers too. When she realizes that you're not truly taking charge of your life, she'll cut ties. She's not interested in passengers on the journey, only fellow trailblazers. For her, life is about creating, not conforming. Number 12. You broke their mirror. They can't reflect in you anymore. For a Sigma female, relationships are more than just connections. They're mirrors reflecting parts of herself back to her. She uses the people around her to gain insight, to understand who she is and where she's headed. When she looks at you and no longer sees a reflection that supports her growth, it's a sign that the relationship has reached its end. This isn't about anger or resentment. It's simply about recognizing that your presence no longer contributes to her self-discovery. The moment she realizes that being around you isn't pushing her forward or helping her evolve, she'll cut ties. It's not personal in the way most people might think. It's not about who you are as a person, but rather about how the dynamic between you no longer aligns with her journey. A Sigma female craves depth and meaning in her relationships, and when that fades, so does her desire to maintain the connection. This decision is often quiet and swift. There's no need for long explanations or drawn-out goodbyes because for her, the realization is clear. If she can't grow alongside you or reflect her progress through you, then it's time to part ways. It's a form of self-preservation, not rejection, and ultimately, it's her way of ensuring that she continues evolving without distractions. When you no longer serve as a catalyst for her growth, she'll move on, not out of bitterness, but out of necessity for her own development.